Hey, Broken World Entertainment, and you might want to brace yourselves for this one because there's a new rumor that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to reboot the Harry Potter film franchise. Uh huh. Reboot. Not make a sequel. Reboot. So this rumor comes on the heels of Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav indicating he wanted to pursue the Harry Potter franchise during the company's 2022 Q3 earnings call. Back in November, Zaslav responded to a question from Wells Fargo analyst Stephen Cahill, telling him, one, we're going to have a real focus on franchises. We haven't had a Superman movie in 13 years. We haven't done a Harry Potter movie in 15 years. And yada yada. This is the one where he ended up saying, we've Lord of the Rings. We still have the rights to do Lord of the Rings movies. He later added, and so when you have a franchise movie, you can often make 2 to 3 times the amount of money you make in the US because you get a slot. Blah, blah, blah. He goes on and on. Then he says, if we can do something with JK, as in JK Rowling, on Harry Potter going forward, Lord of the Rings, what are we doing with Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. So he just kind of focuses on franchises. Well, and this comes nearly 2 months after these comments. This new rumor about the Harry Potter film franchise getting rebooted comes from known scooper and leaker WDW Pro. He posted on Twitter, WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, is reportedly looking to reboot the Harry Potter film franchise, including recasting in the next 3 to 5 years. That's the part that's really weird and sticks out. 3 to 5 years. Okay. We will release some details of how I became aware of this information presented by a source on the Valiant Renegade channel tomorrow morning, he concluded. So over on Valiant Renegade's channel, WDW Pro reiterated that the rumor, it now seems extremely likely that the Harry Potter universe, which I think initially is called the Wizarding Division, it is receiving a reboot in the future in terms of the movies. And that may also include recasting some of the roles that have become iconic inside the Harry Potter universe with the major actors and characters, he added. WDW Pro then clarified this would be a new adaptation of J.K. Rowling's first 7 Harry Potter novels. We're not talking about Fantastic Beasts. We're not talking about some of these ancestry Harry Potter things. We're talking about what is referred to inside the industry as core Harry Potter. Valiant Renegade then made it even clearer. You're looking at that original cast: Harry, Hermione, Ron. New cast starting over. However, later in the video, WDW Pro indicated it might not be a straight reboot. They said the way that they reboot this franchise does not have to be your standard fare reboot, where we go back to the origin of the character we've already had an adventure with. There are many different ways they could do that, and we're not here to tell you that we know what it is yet. They're not even close, I would think, to begin at that point. In fact, according to the source, they don't have sort of the James Gunn individual yet in charge of this. That's part of what they're aiming for. As for why they would be completely rebooting, Valiant Renegade posted, they feel like perhaps the original Harry Potter fandom is kind of aging out. Oh Jesus, we've heard this before from Star Wars. And they want to revitalize or refresh this to make something new to drive new audiences. You know what that means, don't you? It's going to be super diverse. Well, maybe not under Zaslav, but probably. WDW Pro further added, from the standpoint of the OG stuff, the core Harry Potter stuff, I mean, it's a dormant dormant franchise, and that's particularly why we are being told that in the next 3 to 5 years they're looking to reboot this thing. When did the first Harry Potter movie come out, actually? Does this article say? Was it like 2001 or something? Was it that far back? I'm not sure. Because all the other stuff inside this Potter universe, inside of this wizarding division at Warner Brothers Discovery, it's not taking off the way that they need to in order to sustain the franchise, he elaborated. That must be referencing Fantastic Beasts, because we know they wanted 3 of them, or 5 of them. They got 3, and it's dead. And they have far too much invested in the franchise for it to become dormant or secondary. They want it to be a very strong evergreen property, and by that we mean it's selling all the time, that it's always the top of mind of consumers. Yeah, but you have to have it good. You can't just make this shit, slap a Harry Potter name on it, put it out, and expect everyone to flock to it. That has to be interesting. Excuse me. Throat always gets really dry doing this. So they continue saying, and because they have not been able to get the other stuff, these sort of secondary things off the ground and gain that momentum that they had with the originals, the thinking that they have is that it's time for Hollywood to get over this fear of recasting, and so they're ready to do that, he asserted. Yeah, but you see, there's a difference between getting over fear of recasting, if it's recasting via sequels. It's different if you're just going to reboot the entire thing, because that's not just recasting, that's now you're retelling the stories. You know? And then bounding into Comic Sense with saying, what do you make of this latest rumour? Would you want to see a Harry Potter reboot? To be honest, no. I don't think any of the fans want to see a reboot. I think it's very much they want to see a sequel. And the irony of that is they want to see a sequel, but they don't want to see, what's the play called? The Something Child. What's the Harry Potter play called? I'll have to look this up now. Harry Potter play, isn't it? It is a play, isn't it? The Cursed Child. They definitely don't want to see that, because they've all been saying they don't want to see that. Hey, look at that. I was right. 2001 is when the first one came out. They want to see a proper sequel. They want to see the older Harry, all that. Not the Cursed Child, but whatnot. Of course, we now see Daniel Radcliffe and what's her name? Emma Watson or something, isn't it? That they're all just being very anti J.K. Rowling. They're really pushing, and they keep going, oh, we'd love to come back and do Harry Potter, as long as she's not involved. You know, the woman who created the entire franchise and gave us roles, basically. made us famous. Yeah, as long as she's not involved. Even though Zaslav has said, even in that article, very much that they'll only move forward as long as J.K. Rowling is involved. Of course, you don't want her to have the same involvement that she did with Fantastic Beasts. She wrote the screenplay for the second one, I believe, and that was a disaster. The third one flopped for quite a few reasons, really. Most notably, them kicking Johnny Depp at the same time, keeping Ezra Miller. And those movies just really weren't any use anyway. The first one was boring. The second one just sucks, and I never even watched the third one. What's that one? Secrets of Dumbledore. His secrets, he's gay. But the idea of them saying, they have to get over the fear of recasting. As I said, recasting is one thing, but when you're going to it's the same with the Henry Cavill situation. We're all pissed about them booting Henry Cavill in favor of someone new playing Superman. Problem is, they're not continuing on from where Cavill left off. They are rebooting. As much as James Gunn says it's not a reboot, it's not an origin story, it's exactly what it is, because you have him saying, well, it's when he starts working at the Daily Planet and meets Perry and James and Lois Lane all for the first time. Yeah, that's an origin story. So, of course, everyone's going to have the problem. And here's the same. It's not that people have fear of you recast. At this stage, I don't think anyone would care if you recast Daniel Radcliffe and the rest of them. Or unless you don't think anyone cares. It's the fact that you want to reboot the entire franchise. That's where people will have the issue. I have nephews and nieces right now who are only like 13, 14, 15. They've started to really get back into the books. They already like the films. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want to see it being rebooted. Especially then when you hear, they don't have to actually reboot it fully, and they don't have to kind of follow what the previous movies did. So then you're just making up brand new stories. So why not just do sequels? It's strange. Of course, let's all take it with a grain of salt here. It is a rumor, but still, it's an interesting one. Anyway, what do you guys think? I doubt any of you want to see a reboot either. I don't. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. The movies are enjoyable. Some of them are a bit boring, but not offensively boring. You can still sit down and watch them. But anyway, let us know if yous want to see it. I doubt yous do. And with that, I'll leave it here for this one. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.